What is going on, folks? I'm Des with DesFit. So Garmin currently has two very popular activity trackers that have a lot in common, which can make it kind of a tough decision on which one's going to be right for you. So today let's talk about the Forerunner 645 Music as well as the vivoactive 3 Music as well as their non-music counterparts. Now, this question has come up quite a bit in the comments section, so I thought I'd make this video to explain some of the differences between these two devices as well as why the 645 carries a much higher price tag than the vivoactive 3 Music. So if you do find this video helpful, please hit that like button below and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And then one last thing before we get started is that I am doing this comparison in July of 2018 with the latest available firmware. So some things very well could change over time. So if you do hear an inconsistency, definitely let us all know in the comment section below, and I'll also try to update a pinned comment. Okay, so first let's go over what's going to be similar between these two devices. So they're both going to be all-day activity trackers that count your steps and your floors climbed. They're both going to track your sleep, and then they both track all-day heart rate and calories using Garmin's Elevate heart rate sensor. Both are very similar in terms of weight and dimensions. However, the vivoactive 3 is actually slightly larger, but that difference should be pretty much unnoticeable. And then both use industry standard 20mm watch straps. Both of them have GPS plus GLONASS as well as a barometric altimeter, and then they're both going to be waterproof down to 50 meters. And then battery life is going to be pretty similar between these two, but I haven't been able to get a full week out of either one of them. And I get slightly less out of the vivoactive 3, and I think that mainly has to do with the touchscreen. And then if you're going to be using music playback plus GPS concurrently, it's definitely going to drain the battery life pretty quickly on both of these devices. And then the smartwatch features are going to be identical, where both of them have calendars, weather, Garmin Pay, and then apps, widgets, and watch faces that you can download through Garmin's Connect IQ app store. And then both of them do have notifications, which are going to be one way on an iPhone, but on a compatible Android phone, you can reply to text or calls with canned responses that you'll set up in Garmin Connect on your smartphone. And then both of these do have music storage and playback with the ability to store up to 500 songs on the device, including your own purchased tracks, or you can utilize iHeartRadio and Deezer music streaming services where you'll be able to sync playlists and tracks. But both of these do have non-music counterparts that can save you a little bit of money. But now let's start to dive into some of the differences between these two. So although both of them have the 1.2-inch 240 by 240 pixel transflective displays, the vivoactive 3 uses a touchscreen with only one physical button, where the 645 takes a more traditional approach using physical buttons for interacting with the device. And on one hand, a touchscreen is really convenient to use for interacting with your device in more of a smartwatch capacity, but once you start to use it in a fitness capacity, it can be a little bit more challenging to use it with sweaty hands or if you have gloves on. But on the other hand, the Forerunner 645 uses tried and true physical buttons, which can be a bit more challenging to use in certain situations, such as scrolling through long menus, but will always work in any situation, especially during an activity that involves a lot of movement, whereas using a touchscreen can be a little bit challenging. Now, in terms of the fitness profiles, they share nearly the exact same list of profiles, including pool swimming and strength training with automatic rep counting. However, neither of them are going to have open water nor multisport or triathlon profiles. But then the 645 has a trail run profile where the vivoactive 3 does not. And then to flip that around, the vivoactive 3 comes with golf where the 645 doesn't. And I have to say that this does seem like kind of a strange decision because the 645 is a much more expensive device. So I think they'd probably sell a lot more of the 645 if they just added golf. Now, at this point, you may be thinking that these devices are pretty much identical, and the vivoactive 3 actually has a slight advantage where it has golf, and the 645 does not. But the biggest differences are going to come from running and cycling, as well as the associated training features, as well as what data can be collected from external sensors. So with running, the first difference is that the 645 has performance condition, which compares your real-time condition with your average fitness level after about 6 to 20 minutes of outdoor running. And then both do collect cadence on the watch itself, but both can also pair with footpods to collect more accurate indoor running distances. However, both do have treadmill calibration, which is nice to see. And then in regards to sensors, both do pair with Bluetooth Smart as well as Ant Plus accessories, including the HRM Run and HRM Tri. However, the vivoactive 3 only collects heart rate from those straps. With the 645, you'll also be able to see the more advanced running dynamics like stride length, vertical ratio, vertical oscillation, ground contact time, and ground contact balance. And then for cycling sensors, neither of these can pair to power meters, however both of them can pair to speed and cadence sensors. And then both of them are compatible with Varia radar and Varia lights. However, the 645 can also pair to the Varia vision. And then the vivoactive 3 Music does not support the new extended display feature where you can mirror your data on a compatible edge device where the 645 Music can. And then for swimming, although both of these can pair to an HRM Tri-Chest heart rate strap, it actually won't be able to download the data from the strap. Now, this is something that could be added like they did with the Forerunner 630, so I hope to see that happen in the future with at least the 645. And then one final thing with the sensors is that you can rename sensors on the 645, where I couldn't find a way to do it on the vivoactive 3 Music. And then in terms of data pages, there's going to be less customization available on the vivoactive 3 than the 645, where with the vivoactive 3, you can choose between 1 to 4 data fields per page, but this is a global setting where all data pages will have the same number of fields. So you can't have screen 1 have 4 data fields and then screen 3 have 2 data fields, where with the 645 Music, you can, and hopefully that makes sense. And then for the number of data screens, the vivoactive 3 is limited to 3 data screens plus an additional heart rate gauge, where the 645 Music, you can add as many data screens as you'd like. And then in terms of navigation, the vivoactive 3 Music can save a location, but the 645 has the upper hand where it has GPS coordinates, point-to-point navigation, breadcrumb trail in real time, trackback, ultra track mode, and an elevation profile, distance to a destination as well as vertical speed, and the 645 can also follow courses. And then the last big difference is going to be the training features. So both of them can actually estimate your VO2 max, but the vivoactive 3 does not come with the more advanced training features like on the 645, like training status, training load, training effect, and recovery time. And then the 645 also supports interval training, provides audio prompts, predicted finish time, a virtual partner, courses and course guidance, a race predictor, as well as Strava Live segments. And then there's going to be some other subtle differences that, like with the vivoactive 3, you can only store up to 7 timed activities or 14 days of activity tracking, and then the 645 can store up to 200 hours. So you will need to sync the vivoactive 3 to your phone a little bit more often. So although these two devices are very similar on the surface, the biggest differences are really going to come down to the advanced metrics that you can collect on the 645. The vivoactive 3 and the vivoactive 3 Music are going to be branded more as a GPS smartwatch, whereas the 645 is branded as a GPS running watch. And the feature sets definitely reflect that, but both are really good activity trackers overall. So if budget is a concern, the vivoactive 3 is a great watch and provides a lot of functionality, but you won't get the more advanced fitness features like some of that advanced data, as well as the training status, training load, nor training effect, but you will get golf as well as a touchscreen. But if you have the budget and want more advanced fitness features, the 645 may be a better option for you, but you'll forgo the touchscreen for physical buttons and you won't get golf, but you will get advanced running dynamics and a few extra cycling features. But one last thing, so the price difference between these two is quite a bit, whether we're talking about the music or non-music variants, and I think the vivoactive 3 will work for a lot of people. And the 645 isn't exactly cheap, so what I would love to see from Garmin is for them to add golf as well as the ability to download heart rate data for swimming, which would make the higher price tag a lot more palatable, and I don't think it would take anything away from the 935 at all. Anyhow, I hope this video helped explain some of the differences between these two devices, and if it did, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for a lot more fitness and sports technology reviews that are coming soon. And in the meantime, go have fun with your fitness, and we will see you in the next video.